Q Country 102.9 presents Roos Day Tuesday, a weekly discussion with SUNY Canton men's basketball head coach Ben Thompson, giving you the inside scoop on all things SUNY Canton basketball. Q Country 102.9, it's time for Roos Day Tuesday. I've got Ben Thompson in the studio with me, head coach of the SUNY Canton men's basketball team. The road to the NAC championship has begun for the SUNY Canton Kangaroos. They emerged victorious this past weekend, defeating UMPI in the quarterfinals 85-63 while scoring over 50 in the second half. So Ben, when your team met UMPI in the regular season, you beat them both times, but very close games, each decided by less than 5 points. Now you met them in the playoffs, and the point differential was 22 in favor of the Roos. What do you think is responsible for this?
I don't really. The point differential thing for me isn't that big of a deal. I just want to get the win. But we had planned all week and made some adjustments. So they have two guards that are really good, Shaquan Dix and DeAndre Duncombe. You can't obviously vote for your own guys for conference players of the year and stuff like that. But yeah. I did vote for Dix for conference player of the year. And so they're the only team in the league that has their two guards averaging 17 points each or more. So together combined, they average 34 points. So they're probably the best backcourt in the league if you take our team out of it. And so, having to guard those guys is really, really difficult. But our guys were locked in all week, and every practice wasn't perfect. But for the most part, it was one of our best weeks of practice. And guys really locked into the scouting report. And, we mixed some things up on them in the game that I thought really helped us.
Okay, so would you say that having played them earlier this season, you were able to kind of anticipate what they might throw at you?
Yeah, and so when we plan for stuff in the postseason, we look at obviously what we did well and what we didn't do well in the first game. And I kind of take mental notes at the end of every game on what worked and what didn't and what I want to do next time if we see them again. And so we watched our film, and I kind of had remembered the things that I wanted to do. And then you also kind of watch some of the games previous to our game to see if they're doing anything different.
Like their most recent games before playing in the playoffs.
Yeah, and so they weren't. They were doing the same things, which has been successful for them. And they love doing like a high middle ball screen, and he's so efficient off of it. He's really good. And so we had kind of put in a couple different ways to guard it this time, whereas last time we only guarded it two different ways. And he torched us for 34 this time. And he still ended up with 24, but he got it on more shots. Took him more shots to get 24 than it did before. So, and then we kind of made some adjustments at halftime. So I thought the adjustments that we made going into the game were good. I thought guys were locked in and focused. And then the adjustments that we made at halftime I thought were big.
Okay, so you said that a couple players on their team had double digits. I just wanted to mention we had Andrew Fitch in the studio with us last week. He said he was going to get over 5 blocks.
He didn't.
He actually got 1, so I think that you should make him run sprints in practice for that.
Andrew, you're going to have some 44s.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, no, you had 4 players as double-digit scores, including Andrew. Was this something that you kind of thought your team was capable of doing? With the large point differential, was that something that surprised you? Obviously, you're happy to look at the scoreboard after, but...
Yeah, I think we have 7 or 8 guys that are capable of scoring double figures in any given game. But I really didn't think that we really played that well offensively in the first half. We did in the second half. So to have 4 guys, that's good. You have balanced scoring, and I'd like to have maybe 5 guys averaging double figures, because then it's really hard to game plan for people, and you can't take people away.
Because you don't know who's going to have the hot hand defensively for the other team. And, of course, big shout-out to Roos Nation for showing up last weekend for the game.
They were big time all year. They've been big time.
Absolutely. This will be the last home game of the season.
Yeah.
But definitely more games in the future, including the next game will be a bit far for Roos Nation to travel, as you'll take on Hussen for the semifinals, and we'll talk about that matchup when we come back on Roos Day Tuesday. Q Country 102.9. Q Country 102.9 presents Roos Day Tuesday, a weekly discussion with SUNY Canton men's basketball head coach Ben Thompson, giving you the inside scoop on all things SUNY Canton basketball. Q Country 102.9, we're back for part 2 of Roos Day Tuesday. Again, joining me in the studio, head coach Ben Thompson. The next game for SUNY Canton Kangaroos is a big one, right in the middle of their playoff run. Up next is a semifinals matchup against Hussen. Loser goes home, winner goes to the championship. Now, that game against Hussen is this Friday at 7:30 p.m. The championship would be the next day. And let's go into some interesting stats about this matchup. The last time you played Hussen, you played back-to-back games, winning the first by 15 and then losing the second by 16. You only get to play one game this time. Ben, what SUNY Canton team do you expect and why?
The one that won by 15.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. No, before we get into the conference tournament, I also wanted to give a shout out to Coach Ward and the Lady Roos. They won this past weekend, and they're advancing to the semifinals. It's at Hussen, but they play Maine Maritime on Friday. And so we play Hussen, but we play at Maine Farmington. And thankfully for us, Farmington is the shortest Maine trip that we have. So if we weren't going to host, that's about as good as of a spot that we can hope for. So no, we'll take a look, and I've already watched some film, and my dad, the other Coach Thompson, has already kind of game planned for Hussen. We knew that we would have to play them if we won, so he's kind of been doing a lot of legwork on that. And so we'll look at it, make some adjustments, and kind of see what they're doing recently and what we did well last time against them, what we didn't do well, and we'll have some adjustments and a couple surprises for them this weekend.
Now, this going probably along the lines, the same thing that you kind of did for Umpy. You looked at the game film from the last time you played them, as well as their most recent games. Now, you played Hussen much more recently than you played Umpy, so all things considered, is there one thing that really you can't game plan for that you're worried about?
No, not really. The interesting thing is they're the away team too.
True.
So our trip is longer. They're an hour and a half, 2 hours from Farmington. We're both the away teams. And, the interesting thing is the game right before us, Thomas is the 4 seed. Farmington is the 1 seed. But Thomas beat Farmington both times they met in the regular season. So there's a lot of drama. There's some parity going on
here. Who could?
Yeah,
be in
but the cool thing for our guys though, and we're going to talk about this week, and I'm actually going to bring this up is all that we've accomplished so far, and the season hasn't gone perfectly, but the reality is by the time we tip up on Friday, out of the 440 Division III teams, there'll only be 160 of them left by Friday.
Now, let's take a look in the future. Let's say that you go all the way. You win the semifinals, you win the championship. What happens after that?
Yeah, so selection Sunday or Monday, whenever they do it. So if that happens, we would be the first team in SUNY Canton history to make the NCAA tournament for any sport. So it's exciting, and this is a fun time of year, and guys are jacked. They're into it. But yeah, that's our goal.
Regardless, though, I think that Roo Nation can be proud of what SUNY Canton has accomplished this season. I'm sure you're proud of your team as well. But you've been saying it all season long. You're taking this one game at a time. So right now we're focused on the semifinals game against Hussen this Friday at 7:30 p.m. Championship would be the next day, but you can always stay updated on SUNY Canton's Facebook page. We'll keep you updated on our Facebook page as well. I guess without further ado, the last thing to say,
go Roos!
Go Roos!